shouldn't you be doing something else right now? You've checked your phone, stared at the same to-do list for hours, and even cleaned your room. Thank goodness. And somehow, you ended up here. So let's get to the bottom of this and figure out. Google defines procrastination as the act of delaying or postponing action. It's a pretty simple definition that applies to almost everything we do. Like if we decide to take out the trash instead of doing our homework, we're still procrastinating, even if we are being a little productive. Procrastination, if you will. Bruh. But really, when we think of ourselves procrastinating, we try to justify ourselves every time. Maybe we tell ourselves that we can spend 5 minutes on TikTok after finishing a homework problem, and we end up spending 2 hours on TikTok instead of doing our homework. And this being procrastination is a nice word for it, really. If I told you I went on TikTok for 2 hours, you would think that it's lazy. But if I said, wait, I did a homework problem before, is it suddenly okay? It's still lazy. I still did not get anything done. I'm still a big couch potato. We just say, oh, I procrastinated so bad. We just write it off as procrastination, and we don't really try to look deeper into it. But this is really bad if you want to actually stop procrastinating. Whenever I used to do my homework, I would always go on my phone and scroll. So I threw my phone to the side, and I was finally able to see what feelings my phone was preventing me from feeling. I'd open my phone whenever something felt hard, whenever I felt dumb or stuck. The phone was really just an escape from having to feel these feelings that I wasn't that comfortable with. I procrastinated because I didn't want to have to confront these difficult feelings that came along with doing my homework that was difficult and learning something new. And this kind of encapsulates why we don't do chores or things that we don't like. Chores aren't fun. We don't enjoy doing them, so we procrastinate. Whenever we procrastinate, there's usually some factor that leads back to discomfort. And we procrastinate and we procrastinate until we end up running out of time. We have freaking 24 hours in the day. And this seems like so much time until you realize that most of this time will be filled up by things you have to do. You can't necessarily skip out on sleep, and then you probably go to school or you have a job. And that's already half of our day. And then there's other obligations like eating, showering, or drinking water. So you aren't really left with that much time to yourself. And that combined with procrastination is not good. And to explain this to you a bit more, let me explain why I don't like New Year's resolutions. Man, I really want to learn how to fold a paper swan. I just love swans so much. Oh, bro, I could show you a video on my iPad if you want. Wait, bro, it's not even New Year's right now. Well, I can't watch that. No. But you just said you really want to do it. Well, yeah, I do really want to, but not until next year for my New Year's resolution. It doesn't really make sense. Why not just start now? And it works on smaller scales too. Like sometimes I have things I need to do and then I look at the clock and realize, oh, I only have 30 minutes until my next thing. So then I decide that the best option for me is to do nothing because I can't use that 30 minutes to start something and finish later. I have to do everything at once, obviously. So then I just end up wasting that entire 30 minutes doing nothing. We try to use time as this anchor for us to complete tasks or goals, and it really just ends up making us less productive. If I used all my time effectively, I could get a lot more done. I could use those 30 minutes for something I actually need to do instead of just wasting it. As a society, we're obsessed with saying times that either end with a 0 or a 5. It would be weird for me to say, hey, let's start at 5:28. Everybody would look at me hecka weird. But if I say, oh, let's start at 5:30, it's normal. It's literally a difference of 2 minutes. And it's even worse when we put this same limit on our own time for when we're going to do our own work. We go, oh, I'll start at 4. And then 4 passes and we have to wait because God forbid we start at a time that doesn't end with a 0 or a 5 at the end. We are literally procrastinating because the time doesn't look nice enough. It's quite silly and it doesn't help us at all to battle procrastination. So obviously we need to figure out. We are going to beat procrastination up. The very first thing we can do is actually figure out why we're procrastinating, which we can generally cast out to being out of discomfort or time. But we can usually align this with something deeper. Like for example, if you hate reading and you want to try to read a book, you're gonna get distracted by your phone or other things because you just don't like reading in the first place. And you should be able to recognize that just by knowing yourself. Or if you realize that you're always waiting for a specific time to start something. you should be able to realize, oh, I should just start instead of waiting for it to be 11 a.m. No matter if it's because you just love nice looking times or if you feel discomfort, it's important that you actually think about what happened instead of just saying, oh, that was just my procrastination. Then from there, we can think about the environments that we place ourselves in. Like, for example, let's just say I have a huge problem of falling asleep whenever I do homework on the couch. I do this all the time. Well, maybe I should just sit at a desk instead. And like the example I said before about me having to put my phone up whenever I did my homework because it was distracting. Maybe it's better for you to find all the things that distract you and just putting it up wherever you can't get to it, because it's really hard to find it in your huge, glorious willpower to just not do something when you're used to doing it so much for so long. And really, you aren't going to be able to conquer procrastination if you don't find solutions for yourself. Like, there are tons and tons of procrastination apps on the App Store. But the main issue is that they're using your phones, and phones aren't really the best thing to have around when you're trying to procrastinate less. Your best anti-procrastination self is within you, and all you have to do is to stop procrastinating. You have to just start. Which seems silly to say, but there's never going to be a perfect time for anything, actually. Like, I can't sit here and tell you that it's not going to be uncomfortable once you get rid of all your different distractions, because it's literally just going to be uncomfortable. Like, if your goal is to wake up at 6 a.m., you aren't just going to wake up one day and it's going to be 6 a.m. You have to practice, and it's going to suck. It's going to be uncomfortable. But if you didn't just start waking up at 6 a.m., you would never have done it in the first place. You will always have to start. The sooner you start, the sooner that discomfort will go away. I actually think that we can make ourselves more uncomfortable by waiting to start. And I can describe this by how roller coasters feel for me. I hate waiting in line for roller coasters because it gives me so much anxiety hearing everybody scream and seeing how fast it's going, and just waiting in line makes my anxiety build up so high. And when it's finally my turn, I'm so freaked out to get on the roller coaster that I think it would have just been better if I could just go on the roller coaster, because I have lots of fun on the roller coaster, but by waiting, it makes my anxiety build up so high. And that's what procrastination can be like. Like, for me, I procrastinate doing laundry all the time because I think about how long it will take to put it in the wash and then the dryer, and then I'm like, oh, I should just wait till a better time. But it's like, if I had just gone and did it when I first started thinking about it, I would have been done by the time I finally got up to do it. It's not even that hard of a task. Or I do this when I have to have a difficult conversation. I think of all the different scenarios and things that a person might say and what might happen, but then I literally do it and it turns out okay. Like, if I didn't procrastinate, I wouldn't have to waste my brain space on thinking about all this stuff that didn't actually happen. Procrastination is a characterization of our dislike for discomfort. But without discomfort, you can't grow. So just start. You'll either realize that it wasn't that hard to begin with, or at least it will be over with. Now stop watching me and subscribe, like, comment even, and get to work.